Well, I was so close. I was so close from being right, and I was so close to not only nailing both of my prediction, but I said that Russia was going to potentially pull off a surprise in this game, and they almost did. They almost did in this game, but unfortunately, their hearts was broken by Croatia in penalties as Croatia won their second straight penalty kick shootout. But of course, we're going to be getting to that a little bit later because we got to talk about England. And football might be coming home, boys and girls. So England won 2-0 against Sweden. And I said that yesterday, if England is going to beat Sweden, they need to do a better job in terms of playing professionally, and that they can't just completely overestimate Sweden, and that they need to learn from the same mistake that they made in that game against Iceland, and make sure do not make the same mistake against Sweden. And what do you know? They completely learned from their mistake in that last game against Iceland in the Euros. Well, not the last game, but back in the Euros. And they beat Sweden in this game. And in many ways, it was a very professional win by England. It was almost 100% professional win for England, except for the fact that for whatever reason, Sterling, I mean, how in the world did you not score that second goal? I mean, we talk about how Raheem Sterling is a guy that is just a big liability for this England team, and at times he does not do very well in terms of his creativity, and then at times that he just, whenever he does get into a good position, he cannot put the ball into the back of the net, and that is exactly what happened today. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was very good at creating those chances and getting into the good area to put the ball into the back of the net, but he just can't do that. And during the 37th minute, when we were already up 1-0, we could have easily killed the game off, and that it would have been game over after that, when Jordan Henderson, of all people, made an absolute wonderful long ball, and Sterling did a good job bringing that one down, and all he had to do was just poke it past the Swedish goalkeeper, and that would be 2-0 England. But no, instead what he decided to do was that he decided to be cheeky, he decided to be a little bit too cute and trying to take around the goalkeeper, only to find out that there was two Swedish defenders waiting for him and ready to tackle that ball away, and Sterling basically just kind of like ran into a brick wall. He has to go back to trying to put that ball into the back of the net, and by the time he tried to do that, the angle was already against him. The Swedish goalkeeper got back into his position, and that should have been 2-0 for us. But then again, the two goals that we scored was pretty quality goal. The first goal we scored, it was a classic kind of corner kick goal, something that England has done so well this World Cup, and it continues in this quarterfinal game when Ashley Young was delivering the corner on the left side, and then Maguire basically outjumped that Swedish defender and heads that one in for his first ever goal in the World Cup and his first ever goal for England. And then Dele Alli, who, did not have a very good game in this game whatsoever, just like the last couple of games that he has. But one reason why Ali is still with this England team and still starting for this team is because of what he did in that second goal. I mean, it was a wonderful ball from Jesse Lingard, and then Ali basically got into a good position to head that one into the back of the net. And really, that skill that Dele Alli has, that is again the only reason why he's still with this England team. If he does not have that skill, he would have been benched a long time ago. But again, like I said, that was a wonderful ball from Lingard, and Dele Alli was just wide open in the back post to slot it home. And after Ali scored that second goal, I knew the game was over. I don't think that Sweden was going to come back from this. As much as we have seen 2-0 lead getting blown in this tournament, I just don't think England is going to blow it. because of the way that they've been playing in this game, which was very professional. You know, at times it did look very poor from us, especially the first 30 minutes, but at times it looked like a team that is just on a mission, and that this is a team that can potentially go all the way to the World Cup final and potentially winning the whole thing. Now, having said that, the next matchup for England, which is the semi-final, and this will be the first time that England has made it to the semi-final since 1990. It's going to be the first big test, and probably the biggest test. I wouldn't say it's the first big test, actually. I think that this is probably the one that could determine potentially we can get into the World Cup final and potentially win the whole competition. And that, of course, is that we got to face Croatia, who, like I said earlier in the video, they beat Russia 2-2. And before I get into the penalty kick shootout, let's talk about what has happened in the first 120 minutes in this game. Because, wow, there was definitely some wildness happen in the first 120 minutes. Russia started very well in this game. For the first 5 to 10 minutes, they were dominating Croatia. But then Croatia eventually got into their rhythm and basically started to dominate the game. But Russia scored the first goal in this game, and Denis Cheryshev, another goal in this tournament. And after he scored an absolute wonder goal in that Saudi Arabia game, he basically made it even more impressive in this one with just an absolute bullet heading into the left side. Not only that ball was an absolute bullet, but it was also a kind of a curler kind of bullet where the ball basically, it looked like it was going to go wide, but then at the last minute it just dips down and hit it into the top left side of the goal post. I mean, that is a definition of a posted stamp goal, and that is a definition of a goal that no goalkeeper in the world is going to save it. I mean, Subasic, when he saw that strike, he was praying that goal actually either hit the post or go over, because he was never going to get to that one. Like, he didn't even make an attempt. He was just watching, hope that one goes over the bar, but it just never did. I mean, that is certainly, you could argue that might be the goal of the tournament so far. But unfortunately for Russia, they concede 8 minutes later after really a lapse of concentration, after Modric was playing the ball back into the box, and for whatever reason, Kramich was wide open in the box. There was no Russian defender marking him, and he basically slots it home. And then as we head into the second half, you know, Croatia pretty much just took over the game, and that Russia was just getting pinned back. And I thought for sure that Croatia was going to score a goal. I thought, you know, this Russian defense, they eventually are going to get tired out. But they never did. This Russian defense keep hold in this game. And to be honest, Croatia probably could have finished this game in the second half, because Perisic had a wide open kind of shot just 8 yards out, and all he had to do was just kind of slots it home, but instead he hits the post. He actually hit both posts, and Russia survives that time, and the game remains tied. And if that one went in, then Croatia should have won this one and didn't even need to have to go to extra time and even go to penalties to potentially move on into the semi-final. And then when they went to extra time, Russia pretty much did the same thing. They were just kind of sitting back, and that they were hoping to get to penalties like what they did in that last match against Spain. But unfortunately, their plan kind of got spoiled with Vida scoring a header off of a corner, which is not a big surprise, because that's been the story this World Cup. We have seen a lot of goals that has come from set pieces, and that was just another example of a set piece goal that was converted. And really, Vida basically just kind of like hit this one into traffic, and Akinfe had to react that one late because there was so many bodies in front of him. He can't really see that strike, and by the time he's trying to react late, it was already too late. And the fact that Vida, that header, wasn't really hit very well, but because of the fact that there was so much traffic in front of Akinfeev at that time, that is probably the reason why he didn't save that one. And at that point, you thought, okay, that's it. Croatia is moving on. I mean, there's just no way Russia can come back in the second half of extra time and potentially get another goal. And if you look at the Russian team that is on the pitch here in extra time, there's not a lot of goal scoring threat. I mean, they already subbed out Cheryshev, their main goal scorer in this tournament, and also they sub off Zuba in this game before extra time has happened. And you would think that there's no way Russia is going to come back. Then think again, because in the 114th minute, for whatever reason, I forgot who exactly was the Croatian player that basically made a handball right outside of the 18-yard box. It was a very silly handball and a silly free kick to give away. And like I has been talking about throughout this tournament, set piece is just so crucial. And we have seen so far in this tournament, set piece has really determined who will win the game and who will lose the game. And that if you concede a set piece late, then that is usually not a good sign. Well, what do you know? In this set piece, when the ball was delivered in that free kick, Mario Fernandes able to jump high up and able to beat a couple of Croatian defender, and he basically hit that one into the back of the net. And basically the whole stadium at Sochi went absolutely nuts. The whole nation of Russia went absolutely nuts after that point. And yeah, Croatia got absolutely stunned by that. Like, they cannot believe how in the world did they concede a goal to Russia. Consider Russia was bringing all their attacking threat out of this game and just trying to defend to get into penalties. And yet, even though Croatia was leading in this game, Russia somehow find a way back, and this Russian team just do not give up. And as we head into penalties, I thought Russia was going to get the advantage and potentially win the penalty kick shootout because they have the momentum, and that this is a Russian team that have not missed a single penalty in this game. But just like what happened in the Croatia versus Denmark match, where I thought Denmark was going to win the penalty kick shootout because Schmeichel just saved the penalty in extra time and that he is just absolutely on fire, Croatia basically proved me wrong again. And once again, Subasic made a key save to start the penalty kick shootout. The other miss from Russia was basically Mario Fernandes, who was at time the hero for Russia right into extra time. Well, unfortunately, he turned into a zero as he just missed that penalty and hit the penalty wide there. And eventually, Croatia would hit their next two penalty to win this game. And yeah, it is heartbreak for Russia, but certainly jubilation for Croatia. And, you know, certainly, like I said, this is definitely not going to be easy for England. And it is going to be very interesting to see how will this England team able to stop this very talented midfield of Croatia. And I really think in this game, just like the Denmark match, Croatia did not play very well in this game. And that at times, even though they have a very kind of talented midfield, they have at times it just looked very lackluster. And you would think that maybe if England can potentially, I wouldn't say they should just park the bus and then just go on the counter attack and hopefully that will work, but maybe if England can go a little bit defensive and just frustrate that Croatian midfielder, maybe then that might be the right tactics that can potentially give us the win in the semifinal. But then again, Russia was just defending very well in this game, and they had like 11 men behind the box. So I'm guessing England's probably not going to do that. I don't think Southgate is going to go that defensive. I mean, if they go that defensive and we lose the game, then there's going to be definitely a lot of question and a lot of criticism that Southgate is going to receive. But, you know, with how Croatia is and how in this knockout stage they definitely have not looked as good as they are in the group stage, and that the other factor that Croatia will have coming into this game against England is that they have now played back-to-back games where they had to go the distance, and that is going to be a huge toll coming into this game. I mean, you know, Croatia has been, this is going to be the third game in 9 days for Croatia, and they already play like back-to-back 120-minute game. You know, it is going to be a really kind of, they're going to be very tired coming into this game against England, and maybe fatigue would be something that later in the game could be a factor for Croatia, and that it will definitely favor England in that department. But either way, guys, that is pretty much it for this video, and with these two quarterfinal match finished, we have now know who exactly are moving on into the semifinal, and I will of course do the preview video of that tomorrow. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I will see you guys next time.